Hello everyone. Today I'm going to take next topic of chapter Principles of Management, Techniques of Scientific Management. Before going to discuss techniques of scientific management, I want to discuss the meaning of scientific management. Scientific management means knowing exactly what you want your men to do and seeing that they do it in the best and cheapest way. Now, Frederick Winslow Taylor is considered as the father of scientific management. Now, the techniques of scientific management: functional foremanship, standardization and simplification of work study, differential piece wage rate system, mental revolution. Work study has further classified into fatigue study, method study, time study, and motion study. Now, first technique is functional foremanship. In this technique, Taylor suggested division of work into two departments: planning department and production department. It means this technique is an extension of principle of division of work given by Henry Fule, whereas it violates the principle of unity of command because he suggested 8 supervisors to give instructions to single worker. He realized that a single foreman cannot be expected to be an expert in all the aspects, and therefore he suggested 8 foremen or supervisors. Now, under planning in charge, there are 4 bosses: route clerk, instruction card clerk, time and cost clerk, shop disciplinarian. And under production in charge, gang boss, repair boss, speed boss, and inspector. Now, how these 8 functional experts work. Route clerk. This foreman is responsible to fix up the sequence of steps for performing mechanical or manual job. Instruction card clerk. This foreman is responsible for giving general instructions necessary to carry on the job in a specified manner. Time and cost clerk. This foreman is responsible to fix up the time for starting and completion of job. He also prepares the cost sheet for every job. Disciplinarian. This foreman is responsible for performance of job in a systematic way, that is, he ensures discipline at workplace. Gang boss. He arranges all the machines, tools and other resources required for performance of the job so that there is no delay. Speed boss. This foreman assures timely completion of job. Repair boss. This boss ensures that machines and tools are kept in working conditions. Inspector. This boss keeps a check on quality control of the output. This is all about functional foremanship. I hope it is clear to you. Next, standardization and simplification of work. Standardization means process of setting standards for every business activity. Standardization doesn't mean only quality standards, but it refers to setting up standards for size, type, weight, and quality of the product. According to Taylor, scientific methods of production must be selected to develop standard, and to set up standard, the managers must make use of work study techniques which include various other techniques. There are various objectives of standardization. First, to reduce a given line of product to fixed type, size, features, etc. Second, to allow interchangeability of manufactured parts and output among different departments and branches. Next, to maintain the quality standards, and last, to set up the standards of performance for men and machine. Now simplification of work. Simplification refers to elimination of unnecessary diversity of products. It results in saving of cost, labor and machines. As more variety means more inventory, more labor cost and more use of resources. Therefore, there should be simplification of work, which means reduced inventory, fuller utilization of resources, and increasing profits or turnover. Next technique is work study. Work study is a technique where there is comprehensive and objective assessment of all the operations involved in performance of various jobs in the organization. This is done with the purpose of producing maximum with minimum cost. It has four components: time study, motion study, method study, fatigue study. We shall discuss these one by one. First, time study. It is a technique used to measure the time that may be taken by an average worker of reasonable skill and efficiency to perform a well-defined job. The main objective of time study is to find out the number of workers to be employed, frame suitable techniques, and determine labor cost. The method of time study will depend on volume and frequency of task, time cycle of operation, time measurement cost. In simple language, I can say that the standard time required to perform the job, setting up the standard target for workers, find out the number of workers required to perform a job, and categorizing the worker in efficient and inefficient categories. Taylor suggested that the time required to perform the job should not be based on intuition. It should be set up scientifically by doing an experiment. To conduct time study, Taylor suggested to observe an average worker when he is performing the job with a stopwatch in hand and note down the same observation for 100 times and then take out the average time. This time should be considered as the average time for performance of the job. I hope it is clear to you. Next, motion study. Motion means movements. It refers to the study of movements like lifting, putting objects, sitting and changing positions. For example, it is possible to find out three types of motion, which are productive, which are incidental, and which are unproductive. The scientific technique of motion study is conducted, or the objectives of motion study are: first, to find out the movement of workers when they are performing the job, to differentiate between productive and unproductive movements, for cutting down unproductive and wasteful movements, to design suitable technique and equipments and tools to minimize the unproductive movements of workers. To conduct motion study, Taylor suggested to observe an average worker when he is performing the job and note down the movements he is doing, how many times he is getting up from his place, how many times he is bending down, etc. In this way, it helps in increasing productivity. Next, fatigue study. Fatigue means to find out the frequency of rest intervals because a person is bound to feel tired physically and mentally if he doesn't take rest while working. So, providing the rest is fatigue study. The next intervals will help one to regain stamina and work again with the same efficiency. Let us take an example. In an organization, working hours are 9 to 5. There is lunch break of an hour for the workers to take rest. Similarly, in a school, there is a break for students and teachers after 4 periods of continuous learning. It means after 4 periods, the teachers and students will regain the stamina and energy to work again. Next is method study. This method study is to find out one best method of doing the job. Different managers would use different methods of getting the work done, but there is always one best method. So, right from the procurement of raw materials till the final product is delivered to the customer, every activity is a part of method study. For example, for production of shoes, there can be labor intensive method and capital intensive method. To find out which is the best method, management must evaluate the cost of production with both the methods and compare both the methods with the resources of the company. This method, which involves minimum cost and fuller utilization of resources, is considered as the best method of production. I hope time study, motion study, fatigue study, and method study is clear to you. Next is differential piece wage rate system. Means different wages to different kind of workers? Yes. Taylor has advised the adoption of differential wage system in order to motivate the employees. According to this system, wages are paid on the basis of work done, not on the basis of time spent in doing the work. So, he categorized the wages into two types. One is the high wage rate and other is the low wage rate. Those workers who are able to produce the standard number of units within a fixed duration are paid as high wage rate. Those workers who are not able to produce the standard number of units within the same time are paid lower wage rate. Clear? Now I am taking the example. If the standard target is 10 units per day and standard rate is 50 rupees per unit, the worker who is producing 10 units must be paid 500. The workers who is producing 12 units must be paid with a higher rate and than the standard rate, say 60 rupees per unit. So he will receive 12 into 60, that is 720 rupees. The worker who is producing less than the standard output must be taxed and penalized by paying less than the standard rate, say rupees 40 per unit. So he will receive 8 into 40, that is 320. This difference in wages will motivate the workers to become efficient and earn more. Next technique is mental revolution. Mental revolution means change in the thinking of both management and workers, and both should realize that they require one another. This is all about the techniques of scientific management. First, functional foremanship, that is dividing the departments and organization into two parts, production department and planning department. Next, standardization and simplification means setting the standards and eliminating the unnecessary activities and varieties. Third, we have done work study. Work study means comprehensive analysis to give maximum output and minimizing the cost. It includes time study, fatigue study, motion study and method study. Next, differential piece wage rate system. It means difference in the wages according to efficiency and inefficiency of worker. This encourages inefficient worker to work more so that they will able to earn more. Next is mental revolution, means change in the thinking of both management and workers. I hope these techniques are clear to you. Now it's time to do analysis on the basis of case study. Now Work is Worship is a leading construction company. The organization has grown from strength to strength because of its innovative ideas and scientific approach of working. 10 years back, the organization went through a revolution. All the operations and activities were properly noticed and standard time taken to perform them was noted, means time study. Then the amount and frequency of rest intervals in finishing a particular task were noted, means fatigue study. A different rate of wage payment was decided for those workers who performed above the standards. It means differential piece wage rate system. Now, here are the answers. Thank you. Have a nice day.